It's the summer of 1940. German planes fill the skies over Britain. But something's different in this story. The RAF's most famous defender is missing. The legendary Spitfire never existed. No elegant elliptical wings cutting through the clouds, no 8 Browning machine guns sending German bombers running home. Would Britain have survived its darkest hour? Would Europe, as we know it, even exist today? Let's dive into a world where Britain's most iconic fighter plane was never born. Back in 1927, a brilliant aircraft designer named R.J. Mitchell was working at Supermarine Company. He spent lots of time watching seabirds soar through the air. And these graceful birds gave him an idea. What if he could make a plane that flew just as beautifully? Mitchell worked super hard, making design after design. He didn't get it right the first time, or even the 5th time, but he never gave up. In 1936, his dream finally came true with the Spitfire. The plane was special because of its unique wing shape, curved like a seabird's wings, which made it incredibly fast and easy to control. The timing couldn't have been better. Just 3 years later, World War II began, and Britain desperately needed a fighter plane that could defend against German attacks. The Spitfire turned out to be exactly what they needed. Together with the sturdy Hawker Hurricane, Spitfires became Britain's shield in the sky. During the Battle of Britain in 1940, these amazing planes helped save the country. Spitfire pilots would zoom through the clouds, protecting cities from German bombers. They were so good that even when they were outnumbered, they could turn the tide of battle. The German pilots actually became scared when they saw Spitfires coming their way. By the end of the war, over 20,000 Spitfires had been built. They didn't just defend Britain, they helped free Europe. The Spitfire became more than just a plane. It became a symbol of hope and courage, showing that sometimes the good guys really do win. But now, let's rewind time and change one crucial moment in history. Imagine it's 1927, and R.J. Mitchell suddenly takes a different path. Instead of being inspired by seabirds and pursuing his dream of the perfect fighter plane, he focuses on designing racing seaplanes. The blueprints that would have become the Spitfire are never drawn. The year is 1936, and where there should have been excitement about the first Spitfire taking to the skies, there's only silence. The RAF continues relying on older biplane designs, thinking they'll be good enough for any future conflicts. No one realizes the massive gap in Britain's defenses that's about to become deadly important. As 1940 approaches and storm clouds gather over Europe, Britain's air ministry becomes increasingly worried. They have the sturdy Hurricane, yes, but something's missing. That extra edge they need to face the coming storm. The Luftwaffe's pilots are flying the newest, fastest planes in the world, and Britain is about to face them with one hand tied behind its back. The stage is set for a very different Battle of Britain. Without the Spitfire, the entire course of World War II is about to change dramatically. The most immediate and devastating change hits in the summer of 1940. Without the Spitfire, Britain's air defense relies entirely on the Hawker Hurricane. Now don't get me wrong, the Hurricane was a tough plane, but it wasn't as fast or as maneuverable as the Messerschmitt Bf-109s that Germany was using. The Battle of Britain becomes much more one-sided. German bombers, protected by their fighter escorts, face less resistance. The RAF pilots, brave as they are, find themselves overwhelmed. The Hurricanes, while sturdy, struggle to catch the faster German planes. The German bombing campaign becomes more effective. Without Spitfires to challenge them at high altitudes, the Luftwaffe can attack with greater precision. More British airfields are damaged, and radar stations, crucial for Britain's defense, take heavier hits. As 1940 turns to 1941, Britain's situation becomes increasingly desperate. Without the Spitfire's defensive capabilities, the country struggles to protect its shipping convoys from German aircraft. This means fewer supplies getting through, less food reaching cities, and fewer American weapons making it across the Atlantic. The lack of Spitfires affects the war effort in other ways too. In our real history, Spitfires were excellent reconnaissance aircraft, taking crucial photos of German positions. Without them, Allied planning becomes more difficult. D-Day might have happened much later, or maybe not at all. The aircraft industry also develops differently. Without the innovations that went into the Spitfire, like its famous elliptical wing design, aircraft technology advances more slowly. Many modern planes that were influenced by Spitfire design might look very different today. For ordinary people, life changes in subtle but important ways. British morale takes a bigger hit during the war. The Spitfire wasn't just a plane, it was a symbol of hope. Without it, the keep calm and carry on spirit might have wavered. So, what's the final score in a world without the Spitfire? Let's look at the biggest changes that would have shaped our world today. First, Britain's position in World War II would have been much weaker. While the Hurricane pilots would have fought bravely, they would have faced nearly impossible odds. The Battle of Britain might have ended differently, giving Hitler's forces a foothold on British soil. This could have changed the entire outcome of World War II. The timing of America joining the war might have changed too. Without Britain holding strong as a base for operations, the US might have struggled to help liberate Europe. The Iron Curtain after the war could have fallen in very different places, maybe even across Britain itself. The jet age would look different too. Many of the lessons learned from the Spitfire's design influenced the development of later aircraft. Without these lessons, modern planes might be less efficient. But perhaps the biggest change would be to Britain's national identity. The Spitfire became a symbol of British determination and ingenuity. It showed that good design and brave pilots could overcome seemingly impossible odds. Without this symbol, Britain's confidence in its engineering and innovation might have taken a different path. Today's world would likely be unrecognizable. The political map of Europe would be different. The development of aircraft would have followed another route. Even the stories we tell about World War II would be completely changed. It's amazing to think that one aircraft, the dreams of one designer, could have such massive effects on history. Looking back at this journey through a Spitfire-less world shows us something incredible. It wasn't just about having another fighter plane. It was about having the right plane at exactly the right moment in history. If this story of the Spitfire got you thinking, you're gonna love what's coming next. Drop a comment below and tell me, what do you think would have happened if Britain had to fight with just Hurricanes? Would they have found another way to win?